Hello and welcome to the Cabin Boy Knits Woolcast, coming to you deep from the Canadian forest.
This is Christopher.
And this is the other guy,
Jamie. Coming up, we visited the Canadian capital of the wool industry.
We also went to another capital, Ottawa, the capital city of Canada. And we went to a yarn shop and we spoke at the Ottawa Knitters Guild.
We have some spring knitting projects on the go.
And I'm ready to get my hands into my natural dye garden.
And we got mail.
And we are going to announce the winner of our New Brunswick episode.
And also, excitement, Knit City, the first large festival of the season, coming up.
So sit back, grab your favorite drink, and we'll tell you our stories. It's so nice to welcome viewers back into our cabin. It feels like we've been away for so long.
Well, that was last year. This year, it's just a little road trip, but it's always great to get away, and it seems like a holiday in itself.
Yeah, I think because we packed so much in over the last week, we received an invitation to speak at the Ottawa Knitters Guild. And we definitely said yes, because we love Ottawa, and we love people. We know many of the people in the Ottawa Knitters Guild, and they're a lot of fun. So we couldn't pass up that opportunity.
There's a whole group that we met, back when at one of the other festivals last year, and many times prior to that, because it's so close to Montreal. So a lot of the people go to festivals we go to in Montreal. So, bienvenue mes amis francophones.
So yes, and so, and I would say that I think we formed a bond with some of our Ottawa knitters during Fiona. So it was we definitely lived through that fun experience.
It's the word we shall not speak.
But anyway, we are back, and it feels so great. We also did we were able to squeeze in an episode when we were away as well. We did the YouTube Tube Dudes Live.
We can never say it right, but it's the dudes on the tube that involve us and the other dudes, and all about the knitting live, and then that's always recorded, so it's an episode in itself. So for those who missed the live episode, it's not live anymore; it's actually there to watch.
Yeah,
and it's all about Ottawa, and we're going to talk a bit more about specifics. Yeah, but for those who missed it, we're going to do a recap.
So why don't we go in chronological order in terms of our trip? And so
chronological.
So we received the invitation and we said yes. And then we received a lovely email from Shayna.
Yes.
Who lives in Wakefield in a gorgeous Victorian mansion. And it's 5,000 square feet. It's huge.
It's beautiful. It's a B&B, and it's, this very historical home to doctors. It has a long history, and it's completely intact.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And I always find it incredible because I like history. And
oh my gosh, you do?
Yeah. And
I would have never guessed.
But it's really crazy because just even where you fix your coffee in the morning, in the little breakfast nook, and there's all those historical photos. I just find it fascinating that here we are in this house, using a microwave. Woo, how 19th, 20th, 21st century using a microwave. But you know what I mean? Here it is, today. And then there's photo with these women on the front porch with their, a winter sleigh with a horse on the sidewalk. Well, there's not even a sidewalk in front of the house with the picket fence, and it's the same house, the same huge trees. Yeah. And here we are in this beautiful setting that was inhabited, 150 years ago.
So Shayna was nice enough to ask us if we wanted to stay there. And it's only 25 minutes away from Ottawa, and so we said absolutely yes.
It was closer than that.
Yeah, close to that.
We thought it was...
Well, it depends who was driving.
We originally thought it was about 45 minutes. I don't know where we had that idea, so we thought it was, you know, but we were still going to stay. We were just going to do the back and forth. But it's just on the outskirts of Ottawa and in full nature in the town of Wakefield.
Yes. And so before we got there, so after we said yes to that, I just wanted to plan out, okay, what is our route going to be? And then I saw Almonte on the map, and Almonte is very historic, and it's basically iconic for all Canadian woolies.
Exactly, and that's the thing. We think, okay, what? Let's see what else is along the route. Where can we stop? There's some shops we could stop at. We thought about one of the sheep farms. There were several nearby. We talked about historic sheep breeds in the area. We didn't get to fit that in, but we did make a couple of pit stops, and one being the town of Almonte, and I had never heard of the town.
Yeah, but so we went to visit a fantastic mill. And I think you're going to share some knowledge on that. But before you get into that, I was looking at the logo on my mug, and I was wondering why I don't have it facing the camera. But in order to have it facing the camera, I'd have to have it sitting over here. And just watching you speak with your hands.
And I don't know why I ended up with this cup, because it's not my usual cup.
I didn't want my drink all over the table.
This was a Christmas present, and I don't know, because it was big and the coffee was already in it.
What does it say?
Well, I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, I can read it.
It was from your sister.
With the right shoes, I can conquer the world. That's very appropriate. Okay, yes. So I'll wind you up for a history on Almonte.
Okay, so Almonte briefly was founded in 1818. One of the first settlers built a mill. It was a sawmill, which sawmills are always one of the first things to go up. Somebody always, let's build a sawmill because they're going to do well, because if the town starts growing around the area, they're going to need boards to build.
Yep.
Sawmill goes up, and it went from there during its golden era for over 150 years. It was the woolen capital of Canada.
Wow.
Because it had more than six, or it may have been 7 woolen mills with, for woolen textiles, including fine tweeds. So once all of these mills were up and running, they called it Little Manchester, because it was one of a kind across Canada, because never do you have that many woolen mills. But then there was rivers, there's a couple of falls in the area. He had all of these mills in one area that employed most of the town for several generations. The last of the mills, which is the Rosamond mill, closed in the early 1980s. So this is going from, if you think of 1818 and shortly after that, when the woolen mills were built and opened, and they're massive, something like 6 stories high. So the Rosamond was the last to close, and that one they turned it into condominiums, beautiful condominiums on the river, and the original built structure next to it held the offices and a warehouse to the actual mill, and that is now a National Historic Site, and that is where the mill museum, the woolen mill industry, started, and the museum is situated in that historic building. And it's in Mississippi Mills on the Mississippi River. Almonte, they amalgamated, it's now a ward of Mississippi Mills, but it was always its own town for the longest of times. And now it's pretty much a tourist industry, and it's absolutely beautiful.
It's a gorgeous
because of the historical architectural gems in the city. There's a lot of filming going on, film productions, TV film, a lot of Christmas movies of the week, because it's got all of these original buildings on the main street, and also there are period diners from, let's say, the 50s. There's one in particular. So there's a lot to see, a lot to do, a lot of pubs and cafes, and a lot of shops. It's a great little destination for a visit if you're in the area.
And there's a statue downtown.
Oh, there is a statue
of the guy who James Naismith, who founded basketball.
That's kind of incredible.
Yeah, so he was born there, and then he went to McGill University, and then went over to the U.S. and basically spent most of his time at the University of Kansas. So yeah, it was nice to see.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, when you think about what basketball means to the world these days, especially it's so big in the U.S., but Canada first. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's always the thing there between Canada and the U.S. Like, no, we invented it. We played hockey first. You did it in the winter of 1802, but we did it in the winter of in the earlier month of 1801, or was it 1802? And you know, lacrosse, Canadian.
Did you notice anything interesting about the statue?
It was bronze.
Yeah,
he was wearing a hat.
He was wearing a toque. Put a knitted toque on him. So.
And for those if you're not Canadian, you don't know what a toque is. They're hats.
Yes, knitted hat. Yeah,
knitted toque.
Well, why don't we take a look? We went into the mill. Why don't we take a peek?
Let's do that. Have a look.
We are at the Mississippi Valley Textile Museum, and it is a fantastic piece of Canadian wool history. There's so many amazing artifacts here. This was also the largest wool mill in Canada. So let's take a look. I just wanted to say that with the mill, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was very, you know, go do it yourself, but there's so much information there, and I love the way everything was displayed. I thought it was fantastic.
It's almost like it was just left, you know, a closed shop, but everything stayed. And they have this equipment that's mind-boggling. We visited a couple of mills, modern mills and modern technology, and some of it though, like, you know, in Briggs and Little, they have old machinery, very old, but not as old as this. I mean, this machinery, Briggs and Little, I mean, I think they had maybe machinery from the 50s, 60s, maybe the 70s, which is still old, operating today, ginormous machinery. But if you think of the 1800s, you know, what do you call it about, like, with the technology and the revolution? What do you call that time with
the Industrial Revolution?
Industrial. That's what I'm trying to say exactly. So you look at this, you look at the machinery and the close-ups we have on some of it. The intricacies of how did somebody think about how to make this work and these threads to go through these gazillion little.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. So it's all there, and then they had just the bins of thrown in there, the bins of the spindles that go with the machinery, and Yeah, I love that sort of stuff.
And so they even had the dye book. Do you remember the dye book? We
Oh,
yes. Glimpse of the dye book, and you wanted to see if you could photocopy it.
I wanted to borrow it. I wanted to see what the trade secrets were now.
Really interesting.
Early on, they would have been doing natural dye for sure. In the early, and you saw some poisonous bottle samples in there of some of the stuff like sulfuric acid. Was it?
Yeah, and they had chrome
and yeah, things that we wouldn't use today, but maybe in some parts of the world. But not, that's not what we use. But it's fascinating because it had the book, and it was only open on one page with all of the woolen samples, and this book was about this thick, and I was like, I wanted to see if I could lift the case off, because I wanted to like glance. I was reading through, but we wouldn't be able to recreate some of those because of the chemicals they used in the day.
Yeah.
But it would still be fascinating. You still learn a lot. But just to get a hold of that book, and I was looking to see if the curator was around. I thought, hey, could we kind of browse through that historical book? Or do you have a copy of it hanging around somewhere for sale? I did ask for that in the shop.
Did you? I know.
I said, well, I really want to buy that little book of samples and recipes.
The other thing that I found really interesting with the museum was, okay, you saw all the equipment, but you also saw the stories of people, how much they made, how many hours a week they worked, the age of the kids were working in the mill. It was a tough. It was a really tough
work. Like
it was crazy.
14 hours. Like they worked really long hours.
Yeah,
I guess it was 6 days a week.
Yeah, and it was a tough life.
I think it was 7 days a week. I don't think the mill shut down.
And their wages covered, they had to pay for their housing, which was, I think it was a third of the wages. But it was a tough life. They didn't make a lot.
But it's again historical, and they have the large photos along the way, and you could see the people, like you'd see a piece of equipment with the photo, and here they were working that equipment.
Yeah. Beautiful looms too. They had gorgeous looms in there. Yeah. So then after that we left the town of Almont. And we stopped off at the chocolate place.
Well, yeah, because somebody said there was chocolate for sale in the shop, in the museum. And I bought a little something in the museum.
Oh.
That's just a little cock. It's a rooster.
That's the at the museum.
Yeah, at the museum. And I thought it was fascinating because it was so colorful and it was handmade. And I thought it was a little something I wanted to pick up. And then I was looking at the chocolate, and I said, chocolate? I said, what does chocolate have to do with wool? Absolutely nothing. But down around the corner, there's a chocolate factory that's been there for a long time, and they recommended we go check it out.
So what drew you to this?
I just thought it was so unusual, and I think it's just make a nice little pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Insert joke here. Okay. After we picked up our chocolate, we were heading to Wakefield, Quebec.
And that was our destination because that's where we were staying.
Yes.
And we took a zigzag route, and it was gorgeous because we did a little detour this way, and then
we missed the downtown of Ottawa,
which was great. So it worked out well because we just did a little loop-de-loop through the woods, and it was a beautiful drive. And then we ended up in Wakefield.
Of Wakefield, I didn't know what to expect, and you basically have a body of water, which is the Gatineau River, and then you've got shops along the side, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It had a very bohemian feel to it.
Exactly. I didn't know what to expect either. When well, I didn't know it was on the water. And the house was right across the street from so it looks like a bay, but it's just, the river is so wide that it looks like a huge bay, but it's not called a bay, it's not considered a bay, but it's a huge body of water because there's a big bend in the river. So the entire town is like in a horseshoe, and all along the waterfront is the town.
Yeah.
And across the way, it's very hilly, the Gatineau Hills. So across the way, there are these beautiful homes perched way high up into the woods up there. And yeah, a bunch of shops. I thought, wow, this is very cool. And it looked very historic, but very quaint as well, because it's like nothing's changed there in 100 years.
And there was definitely a feel of like you're in a Canadian town with the lumberjack on the side of the hotel and stuff. But it was, what I was really surprised at was when we left, when we crossed the river into Quebec, we were maybe 10 minutes in the car and we were in the country.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that. And we were still so close to Ottawa. I was really surprised.
Yeah, because when I think about something like that, it's like Northern Ontario. In any town you leave, as soon as you leave the city, 5 minutes, you're just there's nothing in between. But being, so close to Montreal and Quebec and everything in between, but then anywhere north is just, it's still very much like Northern Ontario and Quebec. So you're in the woods. But I was really surprised that it's like cottage country, right on the outskirts of Ottawa. You're automatically into the wilderness. So Wakefield.
So Jamie, educate the children on Wakefield.
Again, I'm just going to do briefly.
Okay.
Founded in around 1830. Again, it's by Irish and Scottish immigrants. English. It's an anomaly of sorts because it is in the province of Quebec. Ottawa is still in Ontario. So you mentioned, all you do is cross the river. That's the dividing border into Quebec is always the Ottawa River, the Gatineau River, the Ottawa. They sort of join up the Ottawa, and there's another little smaller river that joins the Gatineau as well. I can't remember the name right now, but it's still pretty much an Anglophone town. Although when we went out for a bite, the two dudes serving us were very French, with a heavy accent, which is to be expected in the countryside because it's Quebec. So it's mainly a tourist area now, and it's also very well known for a legendary music venue, which is the Mouton Noir, the Black Sheep. So a lot of Canadian acts, Canadian bands from way back when, this is one of the venues they would, that's where they started. So a lot of name acts that you know in Canada, played there over time. And there's some great pubs and cafes. There's also the historic Wakefield Mill Hotel and Spa, which is like a 4-star, which is very well known. The falls come down the backside, which you'll see in the video because we were there. I really wanted to spend a day at the spa, but we got busy. We had appointments and people to see that we wanted to do, and shops and
places to go, people
to go within Ottawa as well, because we were back and forth to Ottawa. We didn't, but I'm just glad we at least checked out the grounds.
So am I. Yeah, beautiful, absolutely.
And what else could I say about that? That's pretty much it. There are a lot of shops and little pubs and shops and cafes. There's the native shop we went into. That wonderful. Oh my gosh, it was such a wonderful visit to the store. Yep. Picked up a couple of purchases there.
Yep. The only other thing I was going to add, two things. One is one of our prime ministers is buried there, Lester B. Pearson.
That's right, but what's funny is when we talked about it, we were like, huh? But it's these little known things that, if the average person's not really into history, I mean, you would never go into, unless we didn't go to the cemetery, but
we went to the covered bridge.
Yeah, we went to the famous covered bridge, which I did mention. It's known for that covered bridge that straddles the Gatineau River. It did burn down at one time. We mentioned that if you watched part of the video, but it was completely rebuilt because it's very historic. They're always very quaint and picturesque and that sort of thing.
And did you mention the name of the B&B that we stayed in, or the inn?
It's Les Troise Erables, which is the three maples, which was very apropos because we talked about maple sugar, maple syrup production since it's springtime, and that historic place, as it mentioned, here you had the three maples, and I even point out they were so huge. Those trees are definitely 150 years old. They're in the older picture I remember they were still probably 20, 30 feet high. They were, they were just starting to be beyond the veranda, and now, I mean, the trunks are like this, and they're these beautiful, massive maples that have been there. Again, it's just, they're just like a monument to time, standing still.
The other thing I would mention is the people were so friendly to us.
They were
really friendly, and
everyone's friendly.
Shayna had a knit drop-in, so we were a knitting drop-in. So we were there, and her friends came over, and we had a knit.
She had a wonderful wine and cheese. It was fantastic because we had done our, was it after we had done our Tube Dudes Live, and then we just got, we freshened up and settled in, and then greeted, and she invited local group artisans and fibrists and knitters and crocheters, and we had a wonderful afternoon with these wonderful people, and lots of laughter and chatting about the town, and I found a long lost relative.
That's right. There was a woman sitting right beside you whose last name was
same last name.
And
she mentioned the history of the time around the same time where I know my family first came to Canada and Quebec, and she mentioned her, and I thought somewhere along the line there's got to be a crossing happening there, because
for sure.
It's not that popular of name, and she confirmed that, because even back in Northern Ontario it's never been that popular, and she said the same in Quebec. It's not a popular French name, and it originates in we did this little historical thing when I was in high school, and my last name originates in Champagne region, France. And I know one day when I do the roots up that route on my father's side, which nobody seems to have done that name on my family, I know that there's probably the old Godin Chateau still just sitting there abandoned, because all of
waiting
the
for you.
waiting for you. Those that came to Canada are still here, but the line sort of filtered out over there, and I'm going to go reclaim the chateau in the Champagne region of France one day.
Excellent.
I'm not making it up.
Okay, and then what happened? Saturday. Let's talk about Saturday.
Wakefield. We love it. We loved it, and we did go out. And what did we do?
Saturday morning, we have to talk about our interview. So we went to a very cool section of Ottawa, to a fantastic yarn shop, Wabi-Sabi.
And we had a really nice reception when we arrived by the owner and her partner. Yep. It was fantastic.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
We are in the beautiful city of Ottawa, and we are in a section called Hintonburg, and we are outside of a yarn shop called Wabi-Sabi. Whenever I talk to people, they always tell me, if you're in Ottawa, you have to go to Wabi-Sabi. So let's go in and take a look.
Here they come.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome to Wabi-Sabi.
Thank you. I'm Christopher, and this is Jamie.
Hi, Christopher. Hi, Jamie.
And you are?
I'm Judy Enright-Smith.
Awesome. And are you the owner?
I am the owner. My husband is co-owner, but he works at Parks Canada every day, and I run the shop.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Do you mind taking us on a tour?
I would love to take you on a tour.
And I would love to go on a tour.
All right, let's start with the wall of cool stuff, I suppose. This is where we keep all our lovely little accessories and tchotchkes. And this is a former mechanics toolbox.
Yes.
And this is where we have all our knitting needles.
Oh, what a great use of this.
It's a
That's
fabulous
fantastic.
idea. Yeah. So there you go. And we're also a weaving and spinning store. So we also have, we can talk about that later, but we have various weaving supplies in here as well. Okay, so this is probably the most visited area of the store. This is our sock yarn wall.
Oh,
I don't know what it is about people in Ottawa, but they love to knit socks. So we have a variety of sock yarns. We were told once that our sock yarn selection, the colors weren't vibrant enough. So we said, well, there you go.
That's definitely vibrant.
That's vibrant. Yeah, you need sunglasses to look at that. But they've been selling well. So we have all sorts of, you can squeeze in the back here, our sock yarns. And then these are our fingering weight yarns as well.
Yep.
So we keep them here with our sock yarn area.
And who's Turtle Pearl?
Okay, so I really like to showcase Canadian independent dyers. So Turtle Pearl is Canadian. I'm not exactly sure where they're from, Lily & Pine is Canadian. Smash Knits is our newest indie dyer. They're from either Saskatchewan or Manitoba, I'm not quite sure. And then we have Fireweed, they're from Manitoba. And we have Essence of Autumn.
Yes,
so you can make sweaters out of this, or you can do socks as well. And what we found that's really popular these days are the sock kits. So you do the toes and the heel in a bright color, and then the rest of the sock in that.
Excellent. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
These are. We definitely have color.
We do.
Yes.
We do. And I love the Lily & Pine because they're so spring-like.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be spring on Wednesday, our first day of spring.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
So we like to organize the store also, apart from the sock yarns, the thinner yarns, so the fingering weight yarns to the bulkier weight. So start with our wonderful Jameson and Smith, which we will always have in the store. We love it. And then
very nice.
We go this way to our fingering to our sport weight, and then our suds.
Yep.
Okay. I loved suds. For me, they're like little capsules of candy. And I have to say, they sell out instantly. People love them. I don't know. I know that they make dishcloths out of them.
Yes.
But I'd like to know what else they make.
I've only made dishcloths out of them.
You do it.
But it's fun.
I think you could probably make a baby blanket, maybe.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
But I just love them. And they're always coming out with new colors, which is great. Okay, so we'll go over here. So we're getting into our DK weights. We have the Tuku, which is really lovely, our Lore, our Tweed DK, and our Noro. That's nice. That's really, really nice.
Very nice.
And then we have our Double Sunday, and then this is new from Fireweed. I met them last year at Knit City in Montreal. I went, I think I saw you guys there too. I was checking out to see who some new independent dyers were, and we saw Fireweed, and I love them. So they've just come out with this new tweed type yarn. And then Amelie, which is probably our most expensive yarn in the store, but it's beautiful. I mean, it's like petting a little kitten.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, we get that from Montreal. It's beautiful.
That is beautiful. What is it?
It's alpaca and silk.
It is
silk
gorgeous.
And baby alpaca and merino. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we made up this cowl pattern, and it's free. So if you want, it takes one skein of the Illimani.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
And and then this is a hat that's made with it. It's called Kiss My Pom Poms, which is kind of cute. And then on this, and this is lovely. So if you like the feel of the Illimani, but you don't have the pocketbook, you might want to try the Air.
Oh, that's nice too.
Yeah, so that's $11, and that's not. We'll just keep it at that.
That's right.
Yeah, and then this is our workhorse yarn. I think most yarn shops probably have the Cascade 220.
Yeah,
it's a fabulous yarn. It's a great yarn. It's pure wool. It's $14. It's a worsted weight, and it's 220 yards. And then you can pair it with the Cascade Wave. Although you have to be careful because one's superwash and the other one isn't. So make sure you don't put it in the wash. Now, Malabrigo. Love the Malabrigo.
This is nice.
Yeah. So that's done with the Malabrigo. This is done with the Malabrigo. And then we have another sample that's done with Malabrigo washed with the Malabrigo mohair, which turned out really, really nicely. And then, of course,
recognize these.
Yeah, Briggs and Little.
Yep.
There was a woman in the store a couple of weeks ago who came to the cash with every single color. And I said to her, "What are you making?" She goes, "I don't know, but it's only $8." So she had this huge armful. Anyway, I hope she makes a blanket out of it. And I think people have a love-hate relationship with it. Some find it too scratchy. Others find it not scratchy at all. So.
I don't find it scratchy. I make socks out of them.
Oh,
Work
really?
socks. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And what do we have here?
More Malabrigo, but in the bigger size, the Rasta. And then we have our Brooklyn Tweed, of course. We have Shelter, and then we have Loft on the other side.
Saw that.
So right now we're into the thicker yarns. We're into the DK and the worsted and the Aran weights. And Mercado is another store favorite. Always keep that in. Love the colors.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, and then our Lana Grande.
Wow. Yeah. And so I see a room behind you.
Yes. So this is the roving room. This was our COVID project. This used to be our office.
Yep.
But my husband, I said, okay, we're running out of space. The roving used to be in that window. It was being compromised by the sun. I said, I really think we should move it and give it its own area. So my husband, this is a load-bearing wall, so we had to be very careful, took down this wall. And so the office door used to be here. And this is all our roving. So this is used for needle felting, spinning. You can weave it. We have the Corridale here, which is, if you feel it, it's nice and coarse.
Yep.
And then we move into our merino. So if you feel that, it's a lot softer. And then we have our merino silk blend. Yep, really nice.
And do you have Polworth? I see Polworth up there.
We do. I couldn't. It's probably up here somewhere.
Up here. Yeah.
We also bring in breed specific from custom woolen mills.
Yes.
So we'll have oh,
this is a great idea.
Baby doll wool. Who knew?
Wow.
Corridale, East Frisian.
Yep.
Estalen, Icelandic. So it comes when it's available.
Sure.
So they know, Custom Woolen Mills knows that we're really into the not exotic breeds, but breed specific. So they'll let us know, and we bring it in. These are the bats, which is good for wet felting.
Yep.
And again, you can needle felt with this. And we have our little things like there's if you wanted to mix some linen in with your spinning or some silk, we can hook you up with that. And then these are the oh, these are so nice. I think this is from Malabrigo as well. So that's for spinning. And it's already dyed for you.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And then all of our needle felting. Do you needle felt?
No.
Oh, it's very cathartic.
Is it?
You just stab.
Jamie, sounds like it's got your name on it.
It's fun. It's fast. You're going to injure yourself at some point. You can stab yourself. But it's all part. You have to, bleed for your art, I suppose.
That's right.
But yeah, and we also sell equipment. So we have spinning wheels, tapestry looms, and if we don't have it in stock, what we do now is we drop ship it because our supplier's out in Victoria.
Yeah.
So before we would, if somebody from Vancouver ordered from us, we would bring it in and then ship it out to Vancouver, which is crazy. So now we can just drop ship it no matter where you live.
Yeah.
On the continent.
Yeah.
No, in Canada. We do ship our yarns and our rovings to the United States now, but not our equipment. It's just too expensive.
Yep. Fantastic.
Okay. Now, recently, we just got our spring yarns in. So we have a lovely selection of cottons.
Oh, nice.
That we just got in. And here are our weaving cottons, and we have some linens, I think, and a bit of tencel. And this is caterpillar cotton, so it's the only stuff that's actually, I don't know what you'd call that, multi-dyed, I suppose, as opposed to just the solid colors.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, very nice.
So there you go. Yeah, and then I think we missed this area too. We have our koi goo, which is really popular. And then our cascade again, our cascade fingering. And the Sunday, which is really, really lovely. I mean, that's so soft. And then wool local and the tuku.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep. And this I love. I've just made a sweater out of that. It's silk and merino and cashmere.
Wow, I was touching it earlier, but I didn't want to pick it up and mess it up.
Feel it.
That's nice.
That's nice.
45%.
Yep.
No, 85% wool, 10% silk.
Yeah. It knits up really nicely.
That's nice.
And then we have our loft. Oh, right. We can't forget our mohair.
I know, we walked past this and I was drooling.
So it's interesting that it should be across from the suds because we can't really keep the mohair in stock either because people just buy it like crazy. which is great.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to feel. So we try to bring in as many colors as possible. That's the Malabrigo.
Yep.
Mohair. And then we have pom-poms. So as I said, if COVID taught me one thing, it's the importance of buying local. So I really do try, like that's from Vancouver.
Yep.
I pointed out the various independent dyers, really try to promote the independent dyers because it's important.
It is,
it's
absolutely.
really important.
Yep.
So on order right now, we have Alicat. So they're just over in Canada. Red Sock, Blue Sock, they're over in Orleans. We have Arcane coming, which is a new one that we just found. What else do we have? Fireweed, Essence of Autumn, Songbird. So we really do try to buy Canadian, and we hope that other people buy Canadian too.
Yeah, that's terrific. And do you have classes?
We have classes, yeah. It was a tough decision after COVID to decide when we were going to start classes again, but we have our most popular classes are our project classes, where you bring in as many projects as you're working on, and if you're stuck or if you don't know how to proceed, or you just want a little help, you can bring it in and there's a teacher waiting there for you.
Oh,
and
great.
It's also a bit of a, well, it's not a bit, it's a lot of a social activity too.
Yeah.
Because you usually get the same people signing up for the same project class over and over again, so they know each other and they have a really good time. We have intro to knitting. We have intro to crochet. We have skill building classes. So we have steeking, we'll have cables, we'll have, well, we've just started a sock class. So yeah, we have a lot of classes. We're trying to add more, but also be aware that we don't want to fill the room with a lot of people because we're still trying to be
sure. That makes sense.
COVID aware.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's great. And in terms of your customers, what do your who are they?
Wow. Okay. So when I first bought the store, people would come in and say, I'm so glad you bought this store because we really need a local yarn store, which made me feel really, really
definitely.
good.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a lot of local people. We're very central in Ottawa. So I think we're the easiest to get to too. So we have people from all over town. We are definitely local for Hindenburg, but we have people come in. We even have people coming in from Cornwall, like from out of town.
Yep.
And it's easy now because we do online sales 24/7. We can ship for a flat rate of $15. So our customer base is growing. We see the same customers buying from BC, from Newfoundland, from Nova Scotia. So I have to say we're a pretty national selling store.
Yeah, that's terrific.
And we've just started selling to the United States, which is great. We can ship to the USA.
Oh, good.
Which I'm thrilled about.
Oh, and you just started that recently, or
about a month ago?
Oh, wow.
And the day it went live, we had our first sale down to New York somewhere. So we're hoping sales to the US will pick up as well.
Excellent. One question that I like to ask is just why a yarn store? What brought you into the yarn shop?
Well, that's a bit of a story. I used to work for the federal government. I had worked there for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I was driving to work one day and I turned the corner and I saw my office building and I burst into tears and I realized I can't do this anymore.
Oh, gosh.
It was time. It was time to go.
Yeah.
So this store had been up for sale. So that was 5 years ago. My husband and I bought the store 5 years ago. It was up for sale, I think, 7 years ago, and we looked into it, but it just wasn't the right fit. But my crying jag and the sale of the store came up at the same time, and I thought, I've always knitted. I've always loved knitting. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. My husband paints. We're creative people. Maybe the yarn store is the way to go. And my husband was on board, and the bank was on board, and so we bought the store.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
That was 5 years ago.
5 years.
5 years ago this May.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. And it's been an interesting 5 years, but a lot of fun, and have a great team that works here with me. So.
Nice.
Yeah. No regrets.
Yeah. It's nice. I find that yarn shops often create a community within the community. Yeah, it's a place for people to come and talk and socialize.
Exactly, and it's lovely when you sell somebody some yarn or some roving to needle felt something, and they come back and they show you, and they
Yeah.
go, look
Yes,
what I made.
that's
And
so
just
nice.
talking about it, I got a little bit of a warm fuzzy feeling. But yeah, and that's the whole Wabi-Sabi means, you know, embracing the beauty and imperfection. So you don't have to be Van Gogh or something like that. You know, you just do your thing.
Sure.
And if there's slubs in the yarn, or if there's a slip stitch, that's the Wabi-Sabi. That's the imperfection. It's still beautiful. You created it. You made it. So it's lovely.
Did you hear that, Jamie? Jamie's a perfectionist.
Are you?
Yes.
There's no knitting police, you know, Jamie. So let's go to the back room and I'll show you where the magic takes place.
Excellent. Oh wow, this is a large space.
Yeah, this is great. So our classes take place here. Our receiving and packaging up of the orders takes place here. Yeah, we have a lot of fun back here actually. But yeah, the classes are nice. We try to keep them to no more than 6 people right now.
Yeah.
But there have been times where it's been, you know, pre-COVID, it's been pretty rocking back here. So we have a good time.
And what about knit nights? Have they brought those back yet or not?
No.
Still waiting?
No. Okay. No, we haven't. And it's because of COVID. We just don't know how to do it. I'm not a micromanager. If I ask my teachers what they're comfortable with, and if, you know, that's what they do, masking, unmasking. I've asked everyone if they would like to host the knit night, and everyone has said, no, we're not comfortable doing that. So I'm not going to force anybody to do anything that they're not comfortable doing.
Yep.
At some point we might go to the park and have one outdoors come July or August. Yes. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, maybe Knit in Public Day.
Yes,
would be a good day
that's
to start.
True. And we used to have a sip and stitch on Wednesday afternoons, and we've had a lot of people calling saying, are you doing that again? Are you doing that again? We're not. However, the library over on Rosemount Avenue has just started a sip and stitch. So they've taken over.
Wow.
Which is great. And I'm going to send them some yarn and
that's fantastic.
And wish them well.
Yep. What are they sipping after?
It's tea.
Okay.
Or coffee.
This has been such a great tour. One thing I wanted to mention, the lighting in here is fantastic.
Oh,
and lighting
great.
is so important for a yarn
good,
shop. It's
good.
great. The colors look like they really do.
It's something we worked on.
Yeah. We did a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Super nice. Thank you so much for the tour.
Well, thanks for coming.
How can people find you?
Well, we're at 1078 Wellington Street West in Hintonburg in Ottawa. So we're very accessible from the downtown or from the Queensway. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Our website is wabi-sabi.ca, or you can email us at info@wabi-sabi.ca. And our newest feature on the website is a little chat box on the right-hand side. And I just want to say thank you to you, but also thank you to our Wabi-Sabi team. I can't do this without our awesome manager, Lisa Reed. And I would just like to name the rest of the people.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Robin Newhook, who is our weaving and spinning specialist. We have Louise Manship, who is probably the happiest person on the face of the planet. We have Lisa Reed. We have Mary McIntyre. We have Amber Golden, which is the most beautiful name. And Emily Monks-Leeson is our Instagram person, and Robin Cole's our accountant. And my lovely husband, Michael Smith, who is very supportive and is also co-owner. And we can't forget the wonderful Lisa Hennessy.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Jamie, thank you for filming.
Thanks, Jamie.
Excellent. You were great.
Oh, fantastic.
So, Jamie, what did you think about the yarn shop?
Well, you know, I don't get as I don't have that tingly feeling down below when we're walking to a yarn shop as you do, but
was that noticeable?
My excitement's always with meeting the people. That's what I loved. And Judy and Michael were wonderful, and so happy to see new people that I hadn't met before, and their passion for, you know, I love people who've just decided, you know what, like so many we've met, I'm going to start up a sheep farm. I'm going to get some sheep. I'm going to get me some rambouillet. You know what? I'm tired of this corporate world. I'm opening that shop's up for sale. Maybe it's not the right time. And then it came up for sale again, and just like where we stayed at the B&B, her partner, Shayna's partner, said, she's like, I love that house there. That house came up for sale. She goes, oh, that B&B, you know, well, there's no time like the present.
Yeah.
Let's buy the B&B. Let's buy the shop. Let's work in a yarn shop. And these people are so happy with the change in the mood and the move that they made in their a lifestyle change completely.
Yeah.
I love those stories. And those two were wonderful and happy about the shop. And that's the part I like. What did you like about it?
A lot. The location. I love the location.
Did you see any wool you like?
Yeah, so the location is great, fantastic, and the selection of yarn too. She's a great curator of yarn, and I thought that was wonderful. I love the way it was laid out. I love the feel of the shop. And the lighting was that's a big thing for me. And it was great.
I remember the wallpaper that she hand picked
Oh
and
my
chose
gosh.
all around the upper ceiling, which looks like it's a knitted room. That was very cool, and she was very proud about that. And they didn't do much to it, but they built an addition for where they had that one section that you see in the video.
Yeah.
And they did some work, but I just love the passion that they have for the place now. It's still, you know, like anything, it's still a lot of work. It's a full-time job. But yeah, you're right about the location, because it's one of those up and coming, you know, in parts of the city that used to be that's sort of on the down low, and then now it's like everybody wants to be in the trendy area. But oh my gosh, yeah, coffee shops, cafes, cool buildings. That street alone has all kinds of, like, those buildings look, a lot of them, like maybe like the 1920s. It would have just been after that turn of that century into the early 1900s. Not as old and historical, but you could tell that period where, you know, an expansion almost like on the outskirts of downtown. You know, the city starts expanding to the east side, to the west side, and then you have those buildings probably from around the 1920s and 30s. So very cool and hip and trendy. And
then we were back there 2 days later for dinner.
We were?
Yeah.
Oh, of course we were.
Some of the Ottawa Knitters Guild people. So that was a lot of fun. But that's a great area. And so back to the yarn shop though, I would say highly recommend, if anyone is in Ottawa, to check out Wabi-Sabi. They have a great selection of yarn. They've got a great selection of Canadian yarn as well.
Yeah. And then she mentioned that because it's a destination for a lot of people. And so if you're in that area, or just not even, if you're somewhere near and you want to go to a great shop, I would highly recommend making a pit stop to this shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't say the word, so I didn't say it. Wabi-Sabi?
Wabi-Sabi. What are you going to do with your little cock?
I'm going to wear it on special occasions to knit festivals, because it's knit related, because we're on a knitting adventure when I wear it.
Sure.
I'm going to wear it in Montreal.
Good. Excellent. So did we get some mail?
We did get mail.
I better put my glasses on for this.
And here it is. It's a box of
And I had a heads up that this was coming.
How did you know?
Because I know these things. So Norma Jean Robinson from BC sent a package.
Norma Jean?
Norma Jean.
She must have been a fan of someone special. Norma Jean Baker.
Oh, so there's flowers in here. Great flowers for eco-printing and dyeing dark purple hollyhock.
You're stuck on this damn pin. The bird.
The dark purple hollyhock. No, the dark purple hollyhock. These are biennial. Will bloom the second year, and they like heat and wind and sun.
Wind? That's not something you hear so much.
Yeah.
But maybe
excellent. Wow, and there's a lot of them.
Maybe for pollination. Well, we were just talking about seeds for planting the garden, so now we have some to add to the. And because we have that whole new area there where there's a lot of light coming through here now, because springtime and all winter there were so many storms this year that quite a few trees went down. So we have a nice clearing where we're going to plant up areas that haven't been planted up before and getting rid of some of the grass.
Yeah.
So we'll have areas for that in particular.
I was listening.
Doesn't matter, they were. My friends. There's that me over there.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
What is this?
Blue Sky Guy.
Blue Sky
Fair
Guy.
trade, eco-friendly, natural fiber.
I see hockey.
That feels like bamboo to me almost.
I see hockey.
Wow, look at that.
It's all your favorite hockey players. Oh my gosh, it's I've never seen something with those two together. The Montreal
Canadiens
with the Toronto Maple Leafs, blue and the red.
That's gorgeous. That's beautiful.
Your dad always likes to make fun of with his one friend who, either you're a Toronto fan or you're a Canadian fan, Toronto Maple Leafs or Canadian, and neither nor you don't. Yeah. They're diehard fans for each. So to have something that has those teams on it, it's quite fun.
So I'll read this. I think it's very funny. Oh, I hope it's okay.
Well, who's it say to?
Oh, sorry. Dear Jamie and Christopher.
Only because it said Jamie first.
I knew that's why you pointed that out. Dear Jamie and Christopher, I think it's very funny how maybe funny isn't exactly the right word. YouTube podcasters become your friends. I was touched by the email you sent back to me, and I felt that it required a proper response. I've been slow to do this because of my work, as I had deadlines recently. Most people don't know how designers in the world of fashion and clothing work. I recently finished design work for the 24-25 fall and winter season.
Oh.
How do we know?
Way ahead like that.
Yeah, how do we know what will be popular then? I don't know. It's guesswork and experience. Those are the only guides. A small clothing company like Blue Sky does not follow trends as other companies do. There are many patterns available in the marketplace based on trends, but our work is based on the customer feedback and inspiration from a myriad of sources.
That's kind of like
that's
how
really
we
cool.
operate too. We get so much
colors.
feedback from people.
Yes.
And that's what keeps us going, and that's what gives us ideas and keeps us looking and doing and guessing and adding to what we do.
Yep. Every pattern I develop has a story. When you open up this box, you are opening a box of stories. Some are things from my own company, Heartbirddesign, and others are from Blue Sky. I will give you the Reader's Digest version behind each piece. Not the Jamie version.
What? You're making that up. You're making that up. But everybody likes my versions of stuff and history and stories.
I know, but she only has so much paper.
But I also have the feedback, because I mention it every time. It's like, okay, folks, this is the time you want to go make yourself a sandwich, because that's what my best friend said. She's like, oh yeah, in Jamie's history, that's when I go make a sandwich.
The hockey shirt. These are my brother's favorite hockey players. Guy Lafleur.
I
love Guy Lafleur.
I said right away, I said there's very familiar hockey players on there. I know it.
Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
Joe Sakic.
Yes.
And Steve Yzerman.
I know the names because they're some of the greats, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to read the next one until you open it up.
Okay. What do I pull out? That's?
Yes.
Ooh la la. What's this business? Oh.
Wow.
Very
nice.
Let's try these on. Model them for us, Christopher.
Well, you're the one holding it. I think it'd be appropriate.
Wow.
That is great. Our podcasts keep going back to underwear.
Why is that? Why do people feel the need? Well, you know what it is. I know what it is. It's because most of the time, you know, a lot of the photographs in the times past when you're doing your dye student and you've got your apron on, it's about all you have on.
That's right.
You don't have anything. So I think that's it. That's the clincher. People are putting on, they're clothing you.
Yes.
They're buying you a shirt. They're passing along a shirt and underwear because you wear next to nothing when you're doing what you're doing.
Sure.
So they're thinking, oh,
we'll go with that.
Those poor boys in the woods, they don't have a whole lot of nothing. So here they are sending you things. And this is what I thought. Oh my goodness. Da 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 da. Woohoo! I'm loving me my new. They're gorgeous.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
The Pride.
I'm gonna keep these for a special occasion.
The Pride.
Do these make my ass look fat? No.
I didn't even know how to answer that.
Your booty's what it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, I love them.
The Pride.
So thank you.
Okay, the next
How
one.
do I say more than thank you? This is so incredible.
The box is still giving. Keeps giving.
It keeps giving. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we got panties, new panties, underwear.
Okay.
Okay. What do we have here? I think I know what it is. A mini skirt.
It's
I love it.
That's very nice.
Wow. Indomitable.
The Heartbird bag and the bicycle. Oh.
What?
I said there's something else.
Oh my gosh. Well, can't you just skip to what this is?
Okay.
Oh my gosh. You didn't read in order. Someone's not following.
Okay, well, you have to open the
Well, what
other.
is it?
I can't read it unless you open that one, too.
This one has to come first?
They both have to go together.
This.
Yeah.
Or this?
No, that.
Okay. I see a bicycle
book.
I see a book with a bicycle on it.
The Heartbird bag and the bicycle notebook are for Christopher. I designed the bird after my mother passed away in honor of her indomitable spirit and the fact that she loved birds. I use this bird as my logo. The bike notebook I designed because my partner and I are both avid cyclists. Very nice.
I love the idea of the bird.
I know.
And her mom, because we told that story already.
Yep.
And I feel a connection with a very specific bird with my mom.
Yep.
And when we talked about, when we visited for the book review.
Yep.
And the book launch and the book signing.
Okay. That was for Claire and Kirk Dunn.
Yeah, and Kirk, there was the whole story behind the bird cushion, which has a whole story in itself. But the connection was to my mom, and I felt that cushion, a connection with that cushion because that beautiful bird. And here we have Bird and her mom, and so that's extra special to me, even though it's yours. It's very special, and thank you for sharing that story.
Well, there's something for you in the box, too. So the next one is for you.
I see something very much. Is it the mini skirt?
For Jamie, I've sent 2 project bags.
I see high heels and high-heeled boots of all sorts and shapes and sizes.
The small one is my honeybee print.
Oh.
Very nice.
Honeybee print, and what could honeybee be more than just bee? Honey, bee. It's because of my love for all things honey.
Yeah. So I go to the practical stuff. I always check on project bags. I always check zippers first. These are quality zippers. These are really good.
These are just quality bags.
Yeah, the bags are gorgeous as well.
I mean, look at this.
But that's fantastic. And leather.
So well done.
Yeah, very nice.
And different pockets, different usages. Yeah, they're beautiful. And I love this bright yellow with the different flowers. And they're probably, flowers that honeybees would be drawn to. And the whole idea about honey because...
Did you want to hear what she has to say about the bags?
What's her explanation of the bags?
The small one is my honeybee print. My partner used to have honeybees, so I designed this print in his honor and because I love flowers. The large bag is a print I designed based on drawings of vintage Barbie shoes. My daughter loved Barbie along with Jamie, so I made this print in memory of those times we spent in my sewing room making clothes for Barbie.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
While her dad and brothers watched the Canucks lose another game.
Jeez. Such history attached to hockey and gosh. Barbie. And you know what? She's been following because I don't remember when we talked about the whole Barbie thing, but yeah, I grew up with 3 sisters. And so me and my closest sister, closest in age, the other 2 were a little older, so they were out of the house. So me and my sister, we were still really young, and they all had Barbies, and I had a G.I. Joe, but nobody was playing with me and my G.I. Joe, so I joined the Barbie side.
I had Action Man.
You had Action Man.
From England. He was pretty cool.
I liked my G.I. Joe, but nobody wanted to play with me, so I played with my sister Deb, and we did play Barbies.
Excellent.
So there's a Barbie connection right there.
There's a Barbie connection. So
Barbie connection with the Barbie boots and clothes.
Yeah.
And there's the bird connection with our moms. Thank you. This means a lot.
It was fantastic.
It's very special. And your hockey connection, because you used to play hockey, and so did your dad.
Yes.
And your love of, we've talked about Plant and his jersey that you have, and his connection to knitting. So hockey and knitting just go together like birds of a feather.
Well, the only other thing I'd say is that my last hockey game, we were playing in British Columbia.
You were?
Yeah, representing Ontario.
You were?
And
I didn't know. You didn't tell me. I didn't know you.
I don't tell you everything. I have to keep some secrets. And so you were playing in BC, and that was my last hockey game. Like, that was the last time I played.
Really?
Hockey. Yep.
Wow. Your very last, like, on a team, sort of, like organized hockey.
Yeah.
Because you continued playing after that, just for.
Well, just pick up, but this was on a team.
Is great.
Like, this
keep
was. Yeah, we came in second.
Oh, that's pretty good.
We won the silver medal, and I was in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital. There was so the puck went in the corner, and so of their end. So I went in after it, and this huge guy from Quebec. He was a defenseman for Quebec. He was huge. He came and I just said, "Oh, I have to go in." So I went in, and that was it.
Flattened against the
board. Came out on a stretcher. Sure. Went in the corner of my skates. Gosh. Came out on a stretcher. Anyway.
And I probably mentioned in past times. This is the difference between you and I. I played hockey once. No, literally once. Got all the gear. It was my sister's boyfriend at the time was a hockey coach, and he thought, "Hey, why don't we get Jamie into hockey and skates and join the team?" And needless to say, I got on the ice once. A couple of local bullies recognized me and bullied me on the ice, and I was on my ass most of the time, and it was not fun. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm done with hockey.
But you're a good skater. I've
been skating since I've been skating. I've been skating for as long as I could remember, but I started with roller skating because we know that we've covered that before.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned metal roller skates, which I have. You saw me wearing them maybe in times past. I have them. They're great. And I had them. I was roller skating at about 5 years old. And by the time I was 12, it was, the roller rink on a regular basis on weekends all summer long. And it carried on to they built roller country in Sudbury, state-of-the-art disco, shag carpeting, big disco balls. Didn't miss a weekend going there for years. And then, inline skating. Rollerblades came later. And I continued to ice skate when you're bored in small town Northern Ontario, and there's a skating rink everywhere you go.
Yep.
You go skating all winter. So, yeah, and I still rollerblade.
So I just wanted to say thank you to Heartbirddesign and Blue Sky. Absolutely beautiful.
An absolute great big thank you to you because it's very heartfelt, and I like the time and the story and the time put into it and thoughtfulness and the connections we have with these items. I just absolutely love that. So thank you.
Because this is so different than just going into a store and picking something up. This has a story to it, and that's what makes it extra special. Aside from the fact that they're just beautiful quality. So thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to wearing these.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get a picture. You know what? I'm going to wear these I'm wearing them at Knit City. We'll talk about that coming up. So
excellent.
Nobody's going to know. It's going to be our secret. So don't ask me about what I'm wearing at Knit City because there they are. And you remind me that I'm wearing these along with this.
I will.
And maybe I'll even carry this Barbie bag. That's my Barbie.
I'm sure you will.
It's my Barbie booty bag. And my booty.
Yeah, you have to wait till you get your booty in the underwear and carry your booty bag.
I know it's still a few weeks away. I hope I'm not. I've been trying to cut down on the cake, but I hope I don't. At least I have options to tuck my booty into. When never mind, we're done. Knit City.
Okay. Now next. Okay.
So
Finished
what's your next?
Objects, Jamie. I think you're up.
Well, I have one. It's. I've had it for a while, and I think. Well, I did talk about these before, but I finished this hat, which is another one. I'm calling them. So this is my own design, and I love it. It's kind of a play with this type of pom-pom. It's a play on historical Canadian hats.
Are you searching for a name for it, or
I'm going to call it? We decided we're calling it the acorn hat because of the top, and then this here, like the little chapeau on the acorn. They're acorn hats, and so I had made a couple of them prior. I made 3. This was the first one I made with this beautiful green. And what I wanted to do, I thought, I love the idea. This big thick yarn. You could see it here. This is the weight. It's like chunky, bulky, and where does it get most cold is your ears. So why just knit a hat with this where it's not? So I like to do a thick rim, and that's going to keep you warm, extra soft, right on your ears, extra warm. And I just kind of designed it myself.
And so
I'll have to come up with the pattern and write it out.
So in terms of the border that you're talking about right now, how did you make it thicker?
I just explained it. I just used a thick wool with a great big thick.
But you didn't change you changed the needles, or you used the same needles for the entire hat?
I used the same needles for the entire hat.
Yeah.
And don't ask me how, because that's breaking all the rules of knitters, but I feel like I've never been one to just follow the rules. So you just have to use creativity and imagination. And I love the idea that, because what's happened here, because this is so thick, right? And then you want the tight knit. This was still a very thick yarn.
Yeah.
It was definitely still like bigger than worsted, but then you're going to get the tighter knit. So again, the tighter knit is going to keep your hat warm, because if I was to use a smaller yarn with those big fat needles, this would end up being, you know, have like holes in it.
Yeah.
Because it would be too, but it's nice and thick, still a thick yarn, and it's just quite tight. And so I did one, so I had made one for you for Christmas. And then, I think it was for Christmas, and then I made myself one. And different colors, because this is the wool I had. So this is the second one I made. Then I made a third one for your daughter's partner. And because you had just knitted your daughter a hat.
Yes.
So he knitted
from the Mariner's Daughter in Nova Scotia.
Exactly. So I thought, okay, well, I'll knit Camillo a hat. So I knitted him a hat because he didn't have a hat. And then Geneva, your daughter, loved the hat, and it fit her, and she loved it because. And then she had come back and said that Camillo wears his hat all the time because it's so warm and it keeps his head so warm. And so she hasn't claimed her hat yet. I've had it here for a couple of weeks. So this is my newest finished object.
And do you want to talk about this wool?
Oh, I don't even know. I just like this wool. Do you remember this wool?
Yeah.
It's a bumblebee wool. I find it looks bumblebee.
I thought it was called banana.
I don't recall.
It's alpaca.
It's beautiful and it's soft.
It's from up the street.
Because you picked it up. And I love the color, and it went really well with this darker. This is brown, this is black, but it's the same with yours. It goes from brown to black to green, from.
And that's so. This is from an alpaca
chocolate
farm.
Brown to beige to
alpaca farm about 10 kilometers north of us.
Okay.
So it's very local.
Yeah.
Good job. I love them. They're great.
Yeah, I love them. So
I love my hat.
I need to. Well, I don't know how to write a pattern. I don't even know how to read a pattern. I just know how to design, because now I'm a designer.
You're just
as I mentioned when I knit my first sweater once, and I designed, changed everything about it. So it's really kind of following a pattern, but it's kind of like my own design. And this is just
well, this will be your first pattern.
So I need to come up with this pattern because I love these hats, and maybe others might like them too.
I love this part. I think you did a fantastic job. And this is, I love it. It is warm. We had them out. I was wearing this on the coldest days, and it was great.
And this is the thing. Keep it in mind, because I think people, everybody's sort of has to adjust for something to fit. And what I did was, so of course you just do your cast on, and I cast on. It was around 60 stitches with this fat yarn. That's what I remember being the basic 60. And then I made it small. Geneva's a little bit smaller, so I think it might have been about, 54 stitches, something like that to start. And then when you figure your head goes round, so you got to start closing it in. Well, yeah, I know some blockheads, and so do you. Sorry. I don't know any blockheads. But yeah, no, so what you did, because you could try it as you go, so I wanted to see where this is going to be like top of the ear, so it actually covers your whole ears, covers your forehead, because I hate having a cold forehead. But then I just gauged as I went how soon to cut into it to make it round, and that's what I did. I kept putting it on. I thought, okay, no, this has got to go a little higher for my bigger head. And then I thought, okay, go a couple of inches, and I thought, okay, now it needs to start. We need to start. What do you call that? Start bringing
decreasing.
Start decreasing. See all the technical terms? Decreasing, and start decreasing. And all you need to do is, I can't even hear myself talk. It's so thick.
Oh, let me try this.
It's like, hey folks, if you have somebody in your family who talks an awful lot, just wear your hat indoors. It's great. They're like, this is so thick. You can wear this riding the lawnmower. or no, we're in Canada. You could wear this while you're doing the snow plowing. You know, when you use your snow blower, that's a machine that goes like this, and you use it by hand. You don't have a plow. A lot of people use a snow blower. Think of lawnmower, gets rid of the snow. Good earmuffs.
I'll carry this around with me.
Everywhere you go.
Anyway, great job.
I forget what I was going to say now.
And I'm sure it was very important. We got to the decreases, and then
yes, because I was going to say this is
tassels.
All you need to do is you gauge it, and the decreases you just do them at exact same intervals. So you put your markers there, and again I'm just gauging it as I go. I thought, okay, I'm going to do 2 more rows as I'm getting there because I didn't have a count, and then you just do it at exact intervals so you have that swirl, and it's sameness. And you decrease by the same equal numbers based on your stitches, and then it comes together somewhat at a patterned decrease and forms that.
Excellent.
And the tassels, well, I don't know. I remember doing something like this when you do them as projects as kids, and I remember these tassels, they're just very easy to do.
Did you crochet that?
No, this is just braided.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like a chain link.
Yeah.
It looks like a chain link.
Good job.
And you do this, and I really like them. That's my finished object.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie.
Didn't I say I was going to do a short version of that?
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
I didn't hear all of it because I had the hat on.
Okay. And go.
Okay.
Oh, this is Geneva's hat. It doesn't fit.
So in the last episode, the Tube Dudes episode, I was talking about some of the things I was knitting, and it was socks. In the springtime, I like to knit socks. It's lightweight and whatnot, but I've been experimenting with different types of fiber. And so on this sock, I've been knitting a merino and linen base, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. It feels great.
Were you talking? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I was talking about how great your hat was. And anyway, so I really love knitting these up. I also dyed it, and it took the dye quite nicely. This is indigo. I used indigo for this. So the pattern, I know you're dying to know the pattern so that you can run over and read the pattern. This is Church Mouse, and it's basic. But there's nothing basic about this sock.
I can design my own socks.
So love them. Yeah, that's a good project for you, knitting socks.
And you mentioned what?
The dyeing, yes. You couldn't hear me because you had the hat on.
And you mentioned the wool that you used.
Yes, I used. Yes, I did. I covered the linen and merino blend wool.
Right.
Yes.
And this was the test pattern because coming up at Knit City, we're going to have some new.
We're going to have sock kits.
Yeah, we are.
Yes. So we will have sock kits, and so we'll have different colors for the toe. And
yeah, we have some new colorways that you did with these in particular, so very excited to share those with people, but you have to come to Knit City to see and get them. And
you said that you thought this felt like cotton. And it's a combination. It's a funny...
So people love cotton socks, and it does. It's the linen gives it that
and the more you wear it, the
softer, and
it
that you want sturdy socks. They're soft.
Yeah.
Very soft, but sturdy.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like these will last a little longer than your average socks with care.
Well, we'll see. I'll be trying them out. And I'll get back to
you. Well, no, you're keeping these as samples for Knit City.
Sure. Yeah. So that's it for our fobs. So spring is a great time for knitting socks, but it's also a time for planting. And so I reached out to our friends at Grand Prismatic Seed. Do you remember?
What's the word prismatic?
Prismatic. Do you remember that?
Why is it prismatic?
Yeah, I think you asked that in the last episode.
No.
We covered them 2 years ago. Fantastic guys from Idaho.
A gazillion topics in 2 years.
So it's James
Young.
Anybody
you talked a little bit about a lot of things in 2 years?
James Young and Guy Banner, and they are behind.
The seed.
Yeah, the seed guys. The seed guys, yes.
It's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now.
Is that Celine?
There's a song in there somewhere.
Who sings that song?
It sounds like a Celine song.
Oh. Yeah, maybe. Probably.
It is.
So back to the seeds.
The boys shared their seed.
So yes, and they've got a fantastic seed company, and they are. So James is he's really into seeds or flowers that are used for natural dyeing. And Guy is really into the medicinal qualities of flowers as well. And they are experts in this field, and I'm so excited to connect with people like that, people who are experts in a certain field, and they really know their stuff.
Well, especially when, you know, the connection is they have the seeds, and we like to dye with natural dyes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
There's a connection.
There's a connection. There. So, Christopher, what are you putting in your dye garden this year?
I think you're going to tell us.
I'm going to tell a few things. Not all of the plants yet, because here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing.
How are you going to figure it out?
You might want to put the hat on for this one.
Well, do you need to do, like, do you know if all of these seeds are, did they send specifically knowing that, you know, there's all these, what do you call those regions with numbered regions for what could be, you know, what could be planted within your region? And I think we're like in a 5, maybe you can get away with a 4. Yeah. Maybe a 6.
Sure.
Sounds about right.
I'll go down that road. First of all, I bought the seeds, so that's really important. So it's not an infomercial. And secondly,
we don't do infomercials.
We are doing, so I'm putting together an Excel spreadsheet, because I'm old school, and I'm putting an inventory of all the plants, or all the seeds that we have, and then the conditions that they require, when they're going to bloom, what color they are going to produce, what color they're going to be, and then what color they're going to produce. And so then I can figure out where strategically I want them on the property.
Well, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah. So for this...
Remember, sun, wind, and...
And then I had this great thought this afternoon.
What was that?
It's nice to have a great thought once a day. Here's the thought. I was thinking about my flower boxes and where the plants were going to go. But then the more I read about certain seeds, I was thinking we are on 17 acres, and we have just a variety of different types of soil and conditions for various.
But we don't have very many open areas.
No, but I thought that for the first one, it's soapboard. Soapboard.
Soap board? That's what I heard.
It's my Scarborough accent.
And I'm not even wearing the hat.
It is soapwort, and it's pink flowers.
Is it soapwort?
Yes.
Okay.
And the pink flowers, and they blossom from June to September.
And it's not you, because I have a little bit of a problem with this year.
Sure. And so it goes back to 5,000 years ago. The Babylonians used it to what color do you think soapwort gives if you have pink flowers?
I'm feeling pink.
This is a trick question, because I'm actually not using it
like pink.
I'm not using it to dye. I'm using it to wash the wool. So the Babylonians
have the dirty water from the wool washing.
So the Romans used it as a soap. The Babylonians used it as a soap. It was used to wash the Shroud of Turin. So it goes way.
Who's there to witness that? That's an infomercial. If you have a Shroud of Turin that you need to wash, use what is it called? Soapwort. And you'll have a great big turd that's what is it called?
Turin. Not turd. Turin.
Yes, the shroud. If you've got a shroud that needs cleaning, you should contact the Seed Boys.
The Grand Prismatic Seed.
Well, you know, with Easter coming up and all, it's appropriate. You know, when that boulder rolls off to the side and out comes the shroud, you might want to give it a good cleaning. Oh,
James and Guy, I'm sorry about this.
You're going to need to eliminate that from the conversation.
Oh, I'm sure I will. Anyway, so you use the roots of it. So I thought that would be a great...
That's fascinating.
Then the next one, this one you're going to find equally or if not more fascinating. It is the Lycopis europaeus, also known as the gypsy wort or the European water whorehound.
What he said.
And it's guess what color? You're blushing.
Is it making a color?
It's making a color. It's black.
What's it called?
Black.
You didn't let me guess.
Oh, sorry.
Why did you ask me to make my brain work, but then just for not? I had a thought, and do you know how much energy it takes to produce that thought? And I was about to spit it out.
So your brain can go on for relax for a few minutes while I just talk about this. So the gypsy wort or the European water horehound. And it's the Lycopus europaeus.
You already said that.
I know. I'm just repeating it, emphasizing it. So it is used to dye. It was used to dye linens. Roma used it to dye their skin. Here's the one that you'll find fascinating.
Well, it's interesting because we talked about black dye, and it was kind of a little bit of a challenge way back when to get. There were certain recipes to get to produce black. So, you know, you'd need to know that this plant, where it came from in the world, and how was it used back then, because on its own to produce a black, I'm intrigued.
But this one is also this is the one that had me thinking and gave me that great thought today. I thought, you know, I'm just thinking of this needs wetlands, and so our flower boxes aren't really there. But we are on a stream. We have
wetlands.
Yeah, we have a wetlands in front of us on our property. So there's a bunch of different options rather than just being in the flower box.
Well, that's interesting though, because you know we do know what is. You know, is it some of the mud or the black dirt and the indigenous people of Canada, and it was in muddy, swampy areas that they collected and were able to produce a black. So it's interesting that this has, you know, wetland and.
Well, here's the other thing.
As a common.
Yeah,
thread.
but the Mayapples also they're right by our stream, and they produce a black. So I found that very interesting.
Something.
Here's
in
the other
soil
part.
And water
Could be, but also. In the olden days, they also used to use it for douching. So why would you use something? I find that interesting.
Why would you tell me more?
By using a black, there must be some medicinal qualities maybe to it, but that's black.
Most has medicinal. I can't even talk now. Medicinal qualities to a lot of plants that you benefited from. Some you don't want to ingest or put into your places that you don't know if you're going to get a niche or not, a niche or a burn. You don't want to give it a go. Who discovered that and how did that?
I don't know, but that would be
somebody did. Somebody did, and they passed it all along. You might want to try it.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on to the next one after that. the Hopi black sunflower dye.
Okay,
which was from Native America, so in the Americas, and it was domesticated about 3,600 years ago.
Wow. Well, we know sunflowers we can use for dyeing types, and I think the Seed Boys, we had seeds from them in the past that had one of the seeds was a sunflower. I'm almost sure of it.
It was. Yep.
See, I remember stuff from 2 years ago.
And it was actually.
I don't make this up. So
what color do you think?
Well, I don't.
The Hopi black sunflower dye.
Well, yellow.
I'll give you the name one more time. The Hopi black sunflower dye.
Yellow.
It's black. Okay, we'll try another one. The Japanese indigo.
I don't know. Indigo, Japanese indigo. Oh gosh. I'm not sure.
So I'll be growing the Japanese indigo.
Are we going to do that hydroponically?
We're going to do that hydroponically.
I just made that word up.
We are. So my son is going to come back, and we are going to build a hydroponic.
Are we doing that?
Yes. And we'll be growing.
We'll start with a small tower.
He's RG. Yeah, he's RG. He is already. When he gets back to the office to his farm, he will be starting the indigo for us. And I consulted with James and Guy about this before I went ahead. Yes, and asked about
specific seeds.
Asked about indigo. Would indigo work well in a hydroponic farm? And they said it would be perfect. It would be great for it. So that's what we're going to do.
There you go.
And
I was reaching for my coffee, but I think I've had enough. Believe it or not.
And then the next one, Cosmos. I love Cosmos.
I love Cosmos.
And then we have Marigold, which we use all the time in our dyeing. We use all the time.
Marigold's a great source of yellow.
Yeah, Dyer's Chamomile, which is great, and that's going to give us a great yellow.
So is it chamomile that you could actually brew tea with?
This is Dyer's Chamomile.
Oh, if it's called Dyer's Chamomile, you probably don't drink it.
It'll stain your insides.
Change color. It'll change color.
No, so then you'll need to have the
douche,
the Lycopus europaeus to douche with after you have the chamomile, the yellow chamomile.
To flush it out.
Yeah, and then the red madder. The madder. It's red, which we'll be planting as well. That takes about 2 to 3 years to actually. You go in and you take the roots and you use the roots and grind them up. And that gives you a fantastic red color.
The Rubia tinctorium. It had all kinds of names. Rubia.
Yes.
And it was the long history of the Grand Masters. Some of them used that way back when, because that's the original red that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
Oh yeah, it's in Egyptian portraits and
exactly. So imagine having that right in your own backyard. It's kind of incredible.
It is incredible. So, okay, so now it's time to draw the name for our winner of the New Brunswick episode. They had to answer 3 questions. One of them was the book that we reviewed. The second one was the yarn shop we were visiting, and the next one was the mill. The year that the
there
mill
were 3 questions?
There were 3 questions. You had to answer all 3 of them correctly. And Zan's going to pick the winner.
He likes to point as he's doing now, and when he's on his laptop, he usually just
I'm going to randomly select
with his nose.
Yeah, so I'm going to randomly select. I'm going to scroll down and see. I have to get my glasses.
You need your glasses. Does Zan need his glasses?
Okay, are you going to do...
Zan needs his glasses. Okay, Zan, who's that?
Okay, the winner... Oh, Jamie, what are they going to win?
They're going to win this.
They're going to win a Briggs & Little package, and it's full of stuff. We went through all of it during the New Brunswick episode. So congratulations. And the winner is...
And this is on behalf of Briggs & Little. We thank you so much for this, and we are going to share a little bit of it with all of you, the winner.
It's Jeanette Walker.
What?
And it's there's no relation. No, I can't believe that. Same last name,
Walker?
No relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
That I know of anyway. But so that, Jeanette, congratulations. I will contact you, and you are the winner of the Briggs & Little package.
You could just contact her through the message she sent.
Yeah. Don't worry,
So
I will take care of it.
She doesn't need to contact you.
No.
Like, be listening.
No.
Okay.
So now we have an announcement. The final thing
we do have an announcement. What's the announcement?
The announcement is... Sam, what's our announcement? The announcement is in May, we are going to be at Knit City in Montreal.
Well, we've mentioned it before, haven't we?
I don't know if we mentioned it. I'm not sure. Maybe we did.
I'm sure we have.
But we didn't talk about it. So it's May 19th to the 21st. And we're going to be vending. We're a sponsor. And we're going to be hosting an event on Saturday night.
That's right.
It's a talent show.
Talent/variety show. And we're very excited to be hosting it. And we're still, if you have a hidden talent, because it's going to be knitters and crocheters and fibrists and anybody knit related who's going to attend, you have a hidden talent that you might want to share with us, contact Cabin Boy Knits initially. And sing with a guitar. Maybe you do a dance number, an interpretive dance, whatever it may be.
Or knitting while you're doing the hula hoop.
Possibly. It's not a gong show. So somebody did mention that, but I mean, really though, you're moving your body. Are you going to be able to knit and do a little hula hoop?
Well, playing the fiddle, playing the spoons,
whatever your talent may be.
It could be anything.
Yeah. You let us know, and we're going to see if how many people we could fill in during the 8 to 10 p.m. talent portion of the variety show, the first inaugural at Knit City in May. We're very excited.
Someone pointed out that we don't have a burlesque dancer either, so if anybody knows how to do that.
Well, that's such a big thing now. Not even burlesque per se, but the Cirque du Soleil type, sometimes they're in a hanging hoop. I've seen that. I was at a really small event in a bar, and that's what they do. And they had it hanging from a beam, and they do their whole dance routine in their... Yeah.
So that's it. So I'm super excited about that. And again, it's from May 19th, did I say? To the May 19th to the 21st. And the show is on the 20th. And
we want to mention it's probably one of the first of the season as well, as mentioned. So it's going to be very exciting. Everybody's just been cooped up all winter. And make your way to Montreal, which is a beautiful, wonderful, historic city. If you've never been to Europe, Montreal has a feel of a very European historical city, especially old Montreal. So it's a destination in itself, and there's wool.
Yeah, excellent. So I just wanted to thank everyone for watching this episode. We loved filming it.
And we always enjoy your comments, so keep them coming.
Love the comments.
And, pass the information on to your friends. Say, hey, do you know these 2 dudes? They're a lot of fun. You might want to keep us posted and watch us. So, thank you very much. Mes amis francophones, merci encore une fois. Revenez encore le plus souvent. Partagez-nous avec vos amis et on vous verra à Knit City dans le mois de mai.
what she said. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
À la prochaine, mes amis. Okay, do you want to do it one more time? Did you just say you could dance? You could
And I can't wake up either.